Good evening. It's the KTJC Sports Talk on Brosis YouTube channel. I'm your host, Kenute Connell, and my co-host is
John JC Campbell, live and direct from Kingston, Jamaica.
Okay, John. So we do have a guest tonight. He is going to join us later on. So that's the guest I mentioned last week, who is Dr. Richard Kitson-Walters. He'll be joining us later on. Hopefully, he'll be able to come in. Do you know to connect him and stuff like that?
Yes, sir.
I have no idea. But I sent a link to him, so hopefully he'll be able to get in. But I want to touch on some of what's happening in the world of sports today. What do you have for us from your end in Jamaica? I know that you maybe want to start with, I don't want to put it on you, but I'm thinking you maybe want to start with track and field. I don't know. Well, I wanted to sort of leave track and field until Kitson-Walters come on, but go ahead.
Well, track and field is it, And in Kingston, Jamaica, I was about to say, is a buzz with excitement. But let me say that in quotation because the national junior and senior trials are on as we speak. In fact, I can see the lights of the stadium from where I sit. Albeit, it's going to happen without spectators. And if you're following what was happening, but they had first said they're going to allow 5,000 spectators in the stadium. Well, having met and discussed, they are now saying they will allow no one in the stadium to witness what could very well be a world-class event. And I want to tickle you a little bit by, can you imagine the women's 100 and 200 meter sprint event? The Briannas and the Thompsons and the Shelley and Frasers and the up and coming. It's going to be a stellar event. So yes, it's happening now as we speak,
Yeah, it's definitely going to be something. It's all firepower. I can't recall ever seeing Olympic like the one that's going to come up as it relates to the sprint. When you compare the number of sprinters within United States of America and within Jamaica who are sub-11 sprinters as female sprinters. So of course it's going to be a lot of fireworks. And Jamaica has I think I know like 5, and Natasha Morris. Do we have Shelley and Fraser Price, Elaine Thompson, we have Brianna Williams, and also Kimber Nelson. All of those ladies are running 10 something, so and who knows what's going to happen because it's a trial. When adrenaline starts flowing, who knows what's going to happen. Yeah. So maybe we're going to have surprises from people like Kevona Davis, who has been flirting for a long time with that sub 11. I think the last time she ran was at like 11.09. So she's right there also. And of course, we is yet to see her get to that level, but she's flirting with those numbers also. So yeah, it's going to be one exciting trial. And I'm just kind of wetting my chops, getting ready to go back and see if I can catch up with it later on. And I think that's what our guest is doing right now, is trying to catch up with the track and field. Yeah, but before we go deeper into the trials, I want to hold some of it to see if he comes on. I want to announce that all-time Olympic world champion, the greatest ever, Usain Bolt, and his partner Casey Bennett, announced on Sunday the birth of twin boys, Thunderbolt and St. Leo Bolt. We want to say congratulations to Usain Bolt and Casey Bennett on the arrival of the twin boys, and hopefully we're going to see some junior Bolts as they grow up, right? Yeah. All right. So they're joining their sister, who was born in May 2020. The daughter's name is Olympia Lightning Bolt, of course. So yeah, Bolt is building his family. All right,
Well,
so of course we
well,
know that he won't be performing or participating at the Olympic, but I'm almost sure if it's allowed, he's gonna be there as a spectator because that's how much a love he has for sports. Also coming out of Jamaica, the announcement of the retirement of Bernica Campbell Brown was announced. The 39-year-old have decided to quit track and field. And I just want to read a quote from her, which I found very interesting. She said, um, as I take off my spikes, never to put them on again. This girl from Clarkstone walked away happy and contented with a race well run. Through the grace of God, I have climbed from a small town in Trelawney, Jamaica, up the ladder of success to become one of the most decorated women in Olympic Games and World Championship history. And of course, we know exactly what she's talking about. She has been one of the face of Jamaica track and field for a long while, along with the greatest in Bolt, Safa Powell, Merlin, Ati, and others. So yeah, we want to just say thanks to her for the joy that she had brought us as a country. And we wish her all the best in her retirement. And we hope to have her getting involved in the development of sport within Jamaica and her community.
yeah, well, best wishes to her, best wishes to the Bolt family as well. But I want to highlight something that has been quite interesting over the times. And this has to do with our venture into the unusual areas of performance at the Olympic level. You remember some time ago we had bobsleigh, and then more recently we had somebody in diving, right? And more recently we now have gained an entry into Olympic judo. And I want to lift my hat off again to Ebony Drisdale Daly, who will represent for the first time. We'll have a competitor in the sport of judo. 26-year-old Drisdale Daly will represent Jamaica. And I think that is, to me, that's quite a monumental achievement. We are venturing into areas that, are very unusual. Again, it points to the fact that Jamaica, this land, has a wealth of talent. All that we're lacking, or should I say, all that is needed, different language, is just the resources and the expertise to mold and to bring forward, the talent that we have. But that is, I really applaud that, Interesting.
Yeah, I've always said, John, that the foundation of most sports is track and field. And we are blessed with the natural ability to do well, especially in the sprint. So, of course, that allows us to explore other sports away from the traditional sports that we're used to, track and field, football, and cricket. And that's a good thing. It's always good to welcome changes and welcome fresh talent, and not just fresh talent, but also fresh sports into the country. It's always good to do that. So it's something that,
mind you,
like I said, come from the fact that the foundation that we have as it relates to track and field, the natural ability that we're given from above. Yeah.
But let me quickly say though, that this sport, for instance, judo, wrestling, karate, they have been here. We've been doing them, We've been doing them.
Yeah.
Yeah, the swimming, all these things. But I think what's happening now with the exposure of higher level of training and, a little bit more resources here and there,
right,
we find the talent emerging. So, all I'm saying is that I really hope we can explore even much farther, much wider in terms of unearthing, good raw talent and bring them to the fore. That would be my desire, And I'm sure listeners out there would agree with me that, we have the talent. If we can get them going, you'll be so surprised.
Yeah, I look forward to the day when we'll expand the Olympic pool, and we maybe take part in things like badminton and also table tennis. You know, because we have been playing those for a while. Volleyball also. So hopefully we're going to expand the field a little bit in some of the other sports that we're not involved in. You know, and then we might be able to, like we always talk about the fact the idea of sports tourism. We might be able to bring in some more people as it relates to other sports if we can expand the field as it relates to the Olympics, different events. So let's hope that we continue to build on that.
Yes, indeed. So, another thing I want to highlight too is, I'm sure you would have heard that as well. Khadija Shaw. I'm sure you would have heard that
Yes, sir. Uh-huh.
that I think also is a big move in sport, so in football here for us, that she has been
Yeah.
linked and affiliated. Now we're affiliated with Manchester City, been signed to Manchester City. I think that is the case now with her. That's a monumental achievement again.
Yeah, that's a huge move, humongous move.
Monumental.
She's coming out of the top women French league, and of course she's the one who won the golden boots. I can't remember. I'm thinking that she scored like I think it was 25 goals, and now she signed a 3-year contract with Manchester City, the top flight in England. You know, coming out of Preston in St. Catherine, and and based on her interview, I didn't know too much about like Khadija Bunny, because I did not follow her a lot other than seeing her playing for the Reggae Girls, and knowing that Shaw is a very intelligent person, very good interview. I listened to her the other day when she was interviewed by the media in England. Very smart. Have everything put together, and mentioned very much her passion about giving back to her community, which is what I admire most about some of our athletes, that we do give back from what we earn to our community. So she said that she's planning to start a lot of football camps and so forth. To have girls develop the way she developed, because she said that she was pretty much one of them girls who got involved in football from a very young age, playing with the boys over there in Crescent. I know the area pretty good, a rough area. So whatever she can do within that community, it's definitely going to help the community as it relates to not just economic but also social development.
Yeah, quite a few of the athletes I gather have been giving back to communities.
Yes.
Shelley and Fraser has done so. I think Thompson has done so. I think Bolt has done so. I can't recall all the names, but quite a few of them have been giving back to community. I can only hope that it will be sustained. It's not just a one-off thing to gain a few more stripes on your shoulder, but something that is well planned and executed and can be sustained, something that is sustainable. One of the worst things, when you start a program and after a year, it folds. And then, all that would have been almost lost. We have to build sustainability within the program, whether through linkages with the private sector, linkages with government, whatever, so that it can be sustained. Because as I say, we've been saying that we have a lot of talent out there. And if we can even nurture these youngsters, just nurture them the right way, you'll be surprised. And guess what? The issue of crime and youth crime and violence and so on, all that sometimes can be linked to, should I say, a lack of quality programs within communities. There's a link with that. I mean, in fact, there was one community, and I will not mention the name of the community, but certainly it has been said. We know for a fact that sport was used at one time to bring together warring factions. Don't right? Yes, yes. You know, and as soon as the sport died out, it's like the war came back, you know, the little to and fro came back. So sport is something that we need to take a little bit more seriously. One, for its income generating capacity, and two, for its peace building and unity building capacity as well.
Yeah.
You know? So I will look forward to great.
Remember we mentioned this before on the program that right now we don't have any spectators at the stadium, but if there were spectators at the stadium, there is almost a guarantee that there would be a reduction in crime. You know, because when Usain Bolt used to perform, that used to happen. You know, over the period of time at the Olympics or the World Championship, they experience a reduction in crime. So, you know, we're seeing firsthand, not just something that we're imagining. We're seeing firsthand that there is proof that the academic, that athletics performance does correlate with a reduction in crime. You know, so of course, we want to see. I have to look beyond the fact that they're just supporting the area financially and look at the way it has to do with social development of youth in the area, not just physical but also social development of youth in the area. So you know, I just feel so good about it, and I want to applaud them that they choose to give back so much. You know, and we can't forget that Usain Bolt is also doing a lot that a lot of people do not know about. You know, I know about foundations in Jamaica that Usain Bolt contribute to every single year, you know, or every single period, whatever it might be. So they're all doing, most of them are doing their part to give back to their community.
Yeah, indeed.
And the way BCB spoke about Clarkstown, I'm almost certain that she's gonna get involved in doing something for her community also, because she spoke proudly about that she's from Clarkstown in Trelawny. And I like to see that. I like to see when people, you know, speak highly of where they're coming from and try to go back and do something for the community. So I'm hoping that she can take on that kind of initiative also to help our community.
Right. Okay, so I think Sir Kitson Walters is in waiting to be let in now.
You can let him in, and so we can deal with track.
We can go right away. All right. Well, let us welcome. You can do the introductions as we go. He's here. Yeah, I think he's there.
Yes.
Sir Walters. Yes, he's here. Yes, he's here.
Yes.
Yes, so I just want to formally introduce our guest. Man, you see I'm smiling. You know, so our guest is none other than Dr. Richard Kitson Walters, former Director of International Student and Faculty Services at Morgan State University. He's also a former head coach of Beer Technical High School and served with me at Brosis for 2 years. So Dr. Kitson Walters, welcome to the Brosis, KC and JC Sportz Talk, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yes,
Good
sir. It's a joy to have you.
It's a joy to be here.
Yeah, indeed.
Yes, sir. So we actually started in a little bit of track and field, but we didn't go too deeply into the track and field because I know that's your area that you love to discuss. So can you just kind of give us a little bit of what is going on in Kingston? I don't know. Give us a little bit of update so we can feel like we at least hear something from the trial that's going on right now.
Well, the first day just concluded. Nothing out of the ordinary.
Okay.
Things went as expected. Miss Fraser Price looked, both herself and Thompson Hero looked very good.
Yes.
Very good. I tell you, it's going to be a humdinger.
Yeah, because we
It's-
just mentioned that before you came on, and we were saying that I can't recall. I don't know if you can recall. Jamaica have ever had that quality that we have right now as it relates to female sprinters. We have like 5 ladies who are sub 11, right?
Yes.
5
Yes.
joining because Campbell have been flirting with that sub 11
Freezing.
Yes.
9 or something like that. So I in Jamaica before we have so many ladies running at this fast speed.
Yes. On the men's side, Johan Blake,
Blake.
Mhm.
yeah, was the most impressive of the field.
What?
That is. Yeah. He came through cruising. I think it was 10:02. The young man from California who decided to run for Jamaica. He was also creditable.
What?
Mhm.
Yeah. So was Oblique Seville.
Okay, Seville. Okay.
Yeah.
Right,
He ran well. But all in all, the juniors did very well.
Right.
The young lady from what's that school? Edwin Allen,
Right.
one of the twins.
Yes.
Ran,
Oh,
yeah, ran 11:20 23, I think.
I think she's running with the juniors, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, because
Yeah,
I don't remember.
the meet is both for juniors and seniors.
And seniors, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you know the reason why I asked, because some of our junior athletes can could meet that qualifying time. That's why I asked. But I don't remember seeing her name on the list. That's what I was saying. It has to be in a junior level. Right, good.
Oh yeah, I don't think they would have put her to be eaten up
Yeah.
with the seniors,
Right.
hurt her feelings.
Yeah, exactly. And probably, rob her of the motivation that she needs.
Exactly.
But Sir Kitts, let me ask you this though.
Yes.
There has been talk about, certainly on the men's side, about the future of sprinting. From the Jamaican perspective, given that Sir Bolt and the rest are out or on the way out, and there's been some concern. There have also been some concern about the ladies. What is your view on the future of sprinting? Both from a male perspective and the female side. What would you say?
Well, let me do the easier one first. Female sprinting looks good.
For another 5-10 years, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. No doubt about it.
Okay.
The likes of Brianna Williams,
Lord.
Kemba Nelson,
Woo.
who also looked very good tonight, and others. No, I'm not worried about the female side. Completely different story though on the male side.
Okay.
I really don't see any outstanding prospects for we're talking about gold medal, silver medal, Olympic stuff. We're not talking about someone who may go and make a final at the Olympics and finish 7th or 8th or whatever.
You're talking podium performance.
Absolutely, yes, sir. I couldn't have put it any better. It's just not there. But let me hasten to say, it's not unusual. These things are sometimes cyclical. Yeah, because during the era of a Bolt and what this young man's name? Blake.
Powell.
Blake and
Blake.
No, Blake and Powell.
Safa.
Yeah. I mean, the United States they were struggling.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and they are now, things are now turning around.
Yeah.
Yeah. So prayerfully and hopefully, if I can do both together, we'll be back.
Yeah. With a bang.
Yeah. But the immediate future
Yeah.
doesn't look too bright.
Well, let me ask you this, because I want to agree with you on that. But let me ask you this.
Yes.
Just before you came on, we were actually talking about our venture into, should I say, unusual areas of sport at the Olympic level. Like, for instance, recently we heard about a lady, Drisdale Daly, going in for judo, representing the country in judo.
Mm-hmm.
Sometime before, we heard of a fellow doing diving, high diving.
Yes.
As a representative. You know, I guess the question I'm asking, what is it that would it take, you know, to kind of unearth, what is it that we need to do to pull out some of that talent in these unusual? Yes, we are a sprint factory, but we also recognize that we are talented in terms of our athletic ability. You know, how do you see us in the future? What do you think we need to put in place that we can pull talent from, for diving, for the swimming, for the cycling, for the judo, you know?
Well, let me start off by saying that I think we're going in the right direction. However, from a resource perspective, Jamaica just isn't there to provide the kind of resources that we need to truly diversify our talent base, you know, across various disciplines, and not limit ourselves to the traditional sports. Because one of the reasons why we are getting this proliferation of non-customary sports is because of our young people abroad who weren't necessarily born in Jamaica.
Right.
But there's some Jamaican blood flowing through the veins.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, you know, no disrespect to them, they're not able to make a US team in gymnastics or judo or swimming, you know, similar to that of these boys from England, taking over the Jamaican football, right? But in those countries, in England and in the US, yes, the resources to develop that kind of non-traditional, what we would consider non-traditional sports, that is 10, 15, 20 years down the road.
So by extension then, would you say, you know, it serves us better to perhaps focus more on that which we do well or do naturally well, rather than trying to venture into the, as we call it, the the unusual areas? Would you say that we are better spent doing that?
Well, I think that's what we're doing.
Inadvertently or otherwise.
Right. I believe that's what we're doing. Because the only real sports that's truly being funded in any appreciable way is a traditional sport, the football, the cricket, track and field, netball. Those are the sports that are really being resourced. And even if you ask some people, most of even those sports are underfunded, are under-resourced. So in trying to maximize our limited resources, that's why I was saying earlier, maybe, 10, 15, 20 years down the road, we can truly look to diversify our sport discipline base. But right now, no, it's a traditional sport.
Yeah.
But inviting these youngsters of Jamaican parentage and heritage and what have you to come and represent Jamaica at these sports, non-traditional sports, I think is a good thing.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but I just want to add something to what you said about as it relates to the men's team and the sustainability of the men's team as we look at it right now. And there is something that concerns me, and I know you're not a medical professional, but I still want to ask your take on it. I know that you're one of them guys who follow track and field like me religiously. I consider myself a sports junkie, but more so a track and field junkie. And I've been watching people like, I think his name was Jovan Matheson from KC. You remember him?
If I remember him.
Right.
Oh
and then I want to bring up another name, which is similar to him. I want to bring up also Sasha Dennis. Okay. And what's his name from Calabar again? What's going on with these guys as it relates to injury? What can be done? What do you think can be done to prevent what's happening? It seems as if me and John spoke about it on the show before. We talk about medical professionals being there, making sure that the health of these athletes are being cared for and so that they can optimize their performance. But it seems as if that's not happening in Jamaica. We just have a bunch of coaches who are given the responsibility to oversee all of these things. And sometimes these athletes are overworked. And so we're seeing that these athletes perform well. And then later on, Tariq Wilson was the other guy I was thinking about, right? And then they don't make it to the pro because they sustain injuries. And it seems as if the medical professionals are not able to follow the history of their injuries to make sure that they can recommend what's best for them so that they can, either correct these injuries or if they're corrected to prevent them from happening later on down the line. So what's your take on that? What do you think the problem is?
Well, let me first say that Matheson is the biggest disappointment of the millennium.
I agree.
Okay? That boy had so much promise coming out of high school. But let me be a bit more sweeping here. And you just touched on it. Student athletes being overworked.
Exactly.
At the high school level. I share a little story with you. Back in 1985, I went to Mexico City and participated in a coaching course. Yes, a 6-week program, IAF sponsored, and I was one of Jamaicans selected. One of the lecturers at the school was Sebastian Coe's father, who happened to be Sebastian Coe's coach, particularly in the earlier years. Listen to me now, man. If Sebastian Coe was running at Champs, Sebastian Coe would not have made it to the podium in the Class 1 800 meters.
Okay.
Are you hearing me?
Yes, interesting.
Yes. But you see, the father pointed out that all of that was deliberate in terms of development. It was all charted and plotted.
Stages of development.
Yes, man. Yes, man. You see, those guys don't have no champs to worry about. Yeah? Our high school track and field. I mean, it's a wonderful thing. It's dubbed as the biggest and the best high school track and field meet in the world.
Yeah.
But at the same time, though, there's a downside to it. We push our athletes too much, too early, for the simple sake of winning champs.
Yeah. You could not have said it any better.
Yeah, I agree.
And I want to add, I just want to, before you continue, I just want to add, just interject a little to kind of strengthen the point you're making. And I'm talking from personal experience now, being a volunteer in the area of sports medicine almost every year at Champs. And what we see invariably is a situation where youngsters come in with injuries. They come to Champs with injuries.
Yes.
And we as health professionals, when we question them, they've been carrying these injuries for weeks.
Yes.
For weeks. These are chronic injuries now, right? Which they will now carry even after high school to wherever they're going. They get a scholarship to the States, wherever they carry those injuries. So when you were talking about the injuries that they have, these injuries were birthed from years ago. Incorrect technique in terms of how, and I want to point fingers at coaches or whatever trainers, but sometimes even some of the exercises that they give the kids to do at that age, at that stage, is inappropriate because they serve as the underlying basis for other injuries to occur. So they carry these injuries, they carry them, and they try to make it better. It's settled down for a while, but they run and they're all right, but it pop again, and they keep going, and they keep them to the point where they grind to a halt. So yeah. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So
let me give you another example.
Go ahead.
Let me give you another example. You remember, the name Dion Hemmings?
Yes.
Okay. When I was leaving Veer, I left Veer in 85. Dion Hemmings was just coming in. She had completed studies at York Castle, but was still young enough to participate in Champs. But having left York Castle to Veer, Dion Hemmings was and also ran kind of an athlete.
Yes.
So the point is, she wasn't coming out of any kind of program where she was put. You follow what I'm saying?
Yes.
And even coming to Veer, they were playing catch up with her. So again, the whole issue of her not being overworked, but then she went on to college. And that's where she started to blossom.
Right.
Yes. So, sadly, I don't think things are going to change as long as there's boys and girls champs. This is an evil that we're going to have to be battling with for many years to come.
But in defense of
Careful now.
No, in defense, I think the mindset is slowly shifting. I think attitude is slowly changing.
I think so.
Yeah, it's slowly changing in terms of
If you look at individual schools and do an assessment of what's going on, I keep on mentioning Rusty because I talked to the Rusty's coach and like very much what he's doing. John and I, the first part of when we started our show, we were pretty much there with a lot of sports education, and we mentioned this over and over that what I think needs to happen is that we need to ensure that we have rapid responders for these athletes, and also that we have trained medical professionals that have something to do with the athlete even before they start training. I think one of the first things that the medical professional need to do is to meet with each athlete and, like we said, conduct an extensive medical screening to be aware of anything that might impact the athlete's performance. Let's say the athlete was living in the country area, fell from a tree and, tear maybe a hip muscle or something like that, or let's say a cartilage in the hip or something like that. These people need to be aware of that so they can design training plans to strengthen that area and prevent that from happening, you know, and also to be aware of it so that if say for instance the athlete is performing and something happened, you can say, no, well, this athlete have a history of whatever it might be. And so that you can, you know, better be able to identify and prescribe whatever treatment is necessary. You know, I give you a good example. I just started with a new client on Saturday. And one of the first thing I asked his dad was, I noticed that he was trying to push off from his left leg. And Kit will tell you, I say Kit because I'm used to him as Kit Walters from Brosis. He'll tell you that a lot of athletes tend to use their left leg as the pushing leg. But I noticed that he wasn't getting the kind of quick extension that I was looking for. So then I said to the father, I said, sometimes for some reason, the brain does not coordinate with that left leg. And then it could have been that maybe the person hurt the leg some time ago. And the father told me that he had a problem with ACL. He had an ACL tour. And so right away, I was able to say, well, okay, this is what I'm going to start doing. I'm going to do some more exercises, let him do more exercise that will strengthen that area. So it's always good to be aware of it. And we suggest in our program way back that there should be a pre-season examination every single year. We don't care about how much you know the athlete, but as long as they're moving from one season to the other, there should always be a pre-screening. If you look at tennis, for example, you see that the tennis pros now are paying attention to their body. That's the reason why Naomi Osaka withdrew from the French Open the other day. More recently, Nadal resigned from Wimbledon, right? And he mentioned that he has to start listening to his body. So the athletes need people who will pay attention to their body as they go through maturation and development in order to sustain the kind of physical training that they need to sustain and perform to the optimal level. And we talked about getting optimal level of performance. It has to do with not just physical development, but also mental development. So when an athlete gets an injury, it also affects their physical development because they're not able to get beyond the injury mentally.
Well, let me just say though, you know, I mean, I agree with what you're saying, and I understand what you're saying, but I think a major part of the equation has to do with coach education as well.
Exactly.
I mean, the coach themselves, they sometimes are so gung-ho in trying to win champs that anything goes, you know, they'll do whatever it takes to win champs or to win the goal and to me, that is a kind of short-term thinking, you know. So the coach education is critical. We have to also let the coaches understand that the career of the athlete doesn't end with champs. You know, it goes beyond champs. It goes, you know, well, here we are at senior and junior trials, you know.
I don't think, you know, and again, with due respect.
Yeah, indeed.
Gentlemen, I don't think you all grasp the gravity of the win at all cost of these schools. These schools I'm talking about, Kingston College, Jamaica College, Calabar, St. Jacob, Jamaica College.
Mm-hmm.
Hey. It has nothing to do with a lack of medical input, because all these schools have a number of old boys,
professionals,
medical doctors who come in and volunteer them time with the respective programs. Okay? Old boys pump in millions of dollars.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The coffers of these schools to prepare these boys for champs and girls and on the girls' side. Yeah. So these old boys don't care nothing about developmental chart. Right? They don't want to hear that. They want to win. Take the last champs here. And nobody has answered me yet. Protocols, the pandemic. Schools were closed, right? Everybody was learning online, virtually. Yes? Do you know when Jamaica College started training?
No.
August, September last year. You hear what I'm saying to you?
I believe you. I believe you. I'm a champs every year, so I believe you. I know what goes on. I travel with some of these guys from JC, guys from Jago, and guys from Wolmer's. And you know, even Wolmer's is getting into the competition also. And it's like a derby, whereby each person is trying to see who can outdo the other. And I think that's where the coaches come in. Coaches need to develop a philosophy, and they need to stick to their philosophy. And their philosophy should never be to put athletes second. It should always to put the athlete first. You know, the health and well-being of the athlete first. It should always be that. But I know where you're coming from, because I'm in this environment with these guys and see how these guys react. It's a competition against each other. I mean, a huge competition. And these schools that you mentioned, their old boys pump a lot of money into track and field especially, and they want to see results. And sometimes that overshadows taking care of the athletes.
Yes, man. And where, you may ask, no, where did Kitson Walters get that information from? You know, is he like 007? No. At champs, on the last day of champs, the captain of JC's team, I don't know if he really understand what he did. They interviewed him, and he was the one who revealed that they started training from September the previous year, when schools were on lockdown. You talk about football. You know that there are schools whose the Costa Cup team, for example, has been training all along.
Indeed.
This is a serious thing, you know.
Serious thing.
Yeah. I went down to Virtech. a couple of years ago. And I was talking with a coach, of course, who shall remain nameless. Yes? She was bemoaning the fact that she worked with her kids. She's at one of these, you know, newer high schools, non-traditional high schools. But as her kids come onto the scene and start to perform well, KC and GC and Calabar come down and go to the picnic house. You hear me? One coach from one of them 3 schools went to this boy's house, because all 3 schools were competing for the boy. And you know what made the difference? This particular coach promised the mother to build her a fowl coop. And that's what sealed the deal.
Ooh, I must remember that.
Yes, man. It's serious. It's serious.
But even Cabona Davis, isn't Cabona Davis coming from the St. James area?
Yeah, I mean, but I am not suggesting that in this case that Edwin Allen would have incentivized.
Yeah.
You understand? I'm not suggesting that at all.
But it's a practice that has been going on for some time, you know.
Yeah, it's
Yes,
going for-
yes,
I worked
yes.
at Calabar for 6 years, you know, during the time of Herb McKinley and so on.
Is that right?
Yes,
And,
man. I
and the
taught at
school,
Calabar for a number of
the
years.
school that used to do it more than any other school in the West is now complaining because they're losing some of their athletes. That States is losing some of their athletes to other schools. But they've
Of
been doing it
course.
for years.
Mm-hmm.
And I
States
know
been
we
doing it
have
from
like,
I was in high school.
we have like
So,
primary school champs and so on.
and they've been doing it from I was in high school also.
Oh,
So,
absolutely, absolutely. But
yeah.
we didn't promise any fall cup though.
No, not the incentive. I mean, just the performance incentive because but you know, Kitten, there's something else I noticed. I don't know if you pay attention to it. Two things that is evolving in track and field, and I'm going to the pros now, whereby it was happening before. It just seems like it's more common now, whereby a 400-meter runner who might be an outstanding 400-meter runner is stepping down to 100 meters and 200 meters. As also, I want you to discuss both of them, as also the fact that some sprinters are becoming even more specialized now and is choosing to run only the 100 meter or only the 200 meter in major competition. Now, what do you think is happening here?
Well, it's a matter of load and reducing their load.
Okay.
You know, going through so many rounds.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking.
It's taxing, man. It's taxing. And so I can understand that because there are a couple guys at the US trials, for example, who have been purely quarter milers, but they ended up in the 100 meters.
Yeah.
And tonight, guess who was in the 100 meters? Sherika Jackson.
Right. I had that. Yeah, I heard that.
So I'm not really sure what her game plan is.
Right.
You know, is it that she's going to be stepping down permanently from 4 to 1, 2? You know, certainly it can't be 1, 2, 4. So it's going to be interesting, you know, at such time that she reveals what the game plan is.
Because Fred Curley
Yes.
was ranked. He was actually the top. Well, I would say it's not top, second ranked 400-meter runners, and he stepped down to the 100-meter. He's going to be also taking part in the 200-meter, which should be starting today. And yes. He actually ran a very good time. He was third. He ran a 9.86. And the other side of what I discussed with I asked with Shakira Richardson, she's only running the 100 meters. And also Trevon Brummel is also only running the 100 meter at the Olympics. And I've seen discussion on many track and field websites whereby people are saying that Shelly-Ann Fraser is definitely going to have the advantage over Richardson because she wouldn't be able to go through all of those rounds. But we don't have to talk about it anymore because Shelly-Ann Fraser since then better her time. Shelly-Ann Fraser is now the fastest woman on the planet, so we don't have to worry too much about that. But
but not by far.
Not by far, right? It's what
the time
200 of a second, 200 of a second, I think. But you know, so what you said, I do agree with it. I do think that these guys have a goal, and they're also bent on trying to reclaim the sprint crown, and so they have made some sacrifices, I believe, to ensure that they put all they can into trying to win back that dominance that Jamaica had as it relates to both male and female 100 meters. I think that's what's happening. So they know how difficult it is to be able to manage those rounds as it relates to the Olympics and so forth. So yeah, it's definitely something that I've noticed, and I've seen that a lot of athletes are now trending in those areas.
Right. I want to segue into another sport though, as the time winds down. But
Okay.
I know circuits as a footballer. Days. I honestly didn't know that circuits was a track and field aficionado as well. Seriously.
Yes.
I remember Negos United, I remember Rectory. I mean, in all these sides down west,
Yes.
and so on. But I want to ask you this, which has me concerned. The Jamaica Premier League will start on the 26th of this month, which is what next
This weekend.
yes,
This weekend.
This weekend.
right. Although it's kind of truncated, it will go on nonetheless.
Yes.
Sadly to say, the university has opted out. Sadly, but anyway, I noticed that the western belt of the island, for the past couple of years, they have not been able to put forward a team in the Premier League. We don't see a team coming from Westmoreland. We don't see a team coming from Hanover. We don't see a team coming from St. James. And I don't even think we see a team coming from Trelawney. The entire Western Belt has been cut off from the Premier League. What would you say about that? What do you think?
That one is.
It could be just or they're not playing enough, but what is it that's going on here?
That's easy. That's easy.
Let me hear because I really want to know.
Hey, this is a professional league or semi-professional. Most of the talent from the West
I've drifted.
are with teams in the East and in Central Jamaica, i.e. in St. John. What's the name of that team in St. John?
Yes.
Mount Pleasant.
Mount Pleasant. Who is the coach at Mount Pleasant? Who is the coach?
It's actually Teagat.
Teagat
Teagat
Davis.
is the coach, but the technical director is I forget what his name is, from England.
Teagat Davis is the coach. Where is Teagat from?
Montego Bay.
Yes, sir. So it's not much different from boys champs, track and field, where the more established clubs and the clubs that are better funded can go out and bring in talent from all over the country. And so the wealth of talent that exists out in the West, hey, the highest bidder. We're talking about professional or semi-professional football. And that's why I say it's an easy response.
But we don't even hear of teams, for instance, out of a Hanover, for instance. We don't even hear of a team vying for a place. And it bothers me that nothing happens, not even a team vying for. Okay, they entered, but they didn't make it. You don't even hear of teams, of clubs. I mean, there's a time when I remember there was Negos, there was Rectory, there was Zodiac, there was Sandy Bay, there was Hopewell. That's
yes.
That is no longer there anymore. So I wonder what has led to that, and maybe it is what you may have said.
I think John is a vision of seeing benefit coming from the sport. I'm talking about in the form of monetary benefit and a path to a career. I think that's a part of the problem. Unless there's a system like what the Mount Pleasant Football Academy is introduced in Western Jamaica, I think we're going to see this problem continue for a long time because there is no clear path to making football a career. And so guys rather go and work at hotels in Western Jamaica in tourism. And what usually happens, why you used to see teams vying for National League in the western section of Jamaica was because some of these hotels were having their own teams, you know, and so some of these teams would get close to, you know, they were financing teams in the area and so forth. But since that that kind of relaxed a little bit, we haven't really seen any real competition in the area that you name. And I do think that's a major part of it. People have to see the benefit that they're looking for, the desired benefit they're looking for, which is to make football a career, or at least to be able to be loaned to a team someplace or something. But and use it also if the whoever is going to start the team is going to be a source of income for them, then they would of course gravitate to it. Other than that, they're going to go to, just like it's Walter said, they're going to go to where the money is, and that's why Mount Pleasant is starting off as fifth, because they're able to harness their talent and pull the talent together and have this academy which is doing such an outstanding job, you know. So we just need to start seeing a little bit more of that elsewhere in Jamaica, and hopefully, you know, it's a concern of mine too, John. I would like to see us go back to when we had Negus and you know, Zodiac and Reno and so forth. You know, I would like to see us go back to that. You know, but
you would have representatives from the western end of the island, man. It's almost embarrassing, if you ask me. Almost embarrassing.
I was hearing recently though that with the exit of UWI, yeah, there's a possibility that Wadada will be promoted.
Ooh.
Yeah. I mean, nothing was finalized. It was brought up at a recent meeting and aired on TVJ. So we just have to wait and see what happens there. But you know, again, I'll go back to the whole concept of the developmental approach to things. You know, here again, we fall so short in Jamaica in terms of the development of football. Yes? Look at what's happening now.
I agree.
We're more than half of the Jamaican team is made up of Englishmen.
Yeah. What have we been doing?
You know, what incentive is there for most of these talented youngsters? What's the incentive? Because a youngster now is going to just sit back and say, hey, you know, they're going to bring these guys from England and you know, there are guys who left high school at the top of the game and overlooked by these national coaches. Overlooked.
But can you blame them though?
Yes.
Are we saying that they ought not to take that stance? That they shouldn't look abroad to bring in better players? Are you saying we should stick with what we have here regardless of the outcome? What are you saying?
No. We are looking abroad because there's a vacuum in Jamaica.
Right.
And that vacuum in Jamaica exists because of the absence of a comprehensive football development plan for the country.
Thank you so much.
Youth football.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I say thank you because we did mention this some time ago, that there is a gap between high school football, where it stops, and what is it? Premier League football. There's a little gap there, like you know.
Yeah, there's no springboard at all. There's no springboard.
A lot of kids fall through the ever widening cracks because of this lack of, as you correctly stated, a plan, structured, comprehensive plan of development. Thank you very much.
That's fine.
Very much.
You know, I oftentimes
that's very much the case. We even brought the example of again Mount Pleasant into the picture. Since Mount Pleasant started, they run this under 13 competition. Mount Pleasant never lost. So I think it's now they're running like 3 consecutive years now. They won the under 13 championship. So you know, proper system, kissing water. I agree, it's going to be a lot better with a proper system. So that's what we really need. And while I think that go abroad to get the foreign players, bring in a wealth of talent into Jamaica, we have to think about how is this going to benefit our team, because you can have all talent, and if they're not put together early enough to bring about some form of chemistry, then this is not going to make a difference. So hopefully, you know, with these guys coming in, that even the coaching staff might learn something from these professionals that they're bringing in, because I still worry about whether or not we're going to be able to perform the way most people are expecting, because people are looking at the fact that these guys play at professional level. That doesn't mean anything when chemistry is not involved. You know, I just don't think that we're going to be, on paper, we might be a better team than the team that qualified for the World Cup. But I see our chance. I feel much more comfortable with that team back in 97 than I feel with this team right now, because I think there's a lack of chemistry on this team. And you know, I think one of the major problems that we have also is we have to understand that John mentioned the lack of springboarding from high school into the pros, but also we need to see better development as it relates to our coaches, not just class 1 or class 2, but going to the highest level. And that's how we're going to get, if we don't have the academies, you know, the structure, the fixed structure, we can also use the true academics and then get a couple coaches that are well qualified to help develop the program in Jamaica. I don't know. I'm just talking from what I believe. I don't know for sure, but we should be seeing better results, and we have to assume that some of this is not just because we don't have another academy in Jamaica. Some of it is because we don't have a good system through which to take these footballers through. Because I've seen a lot of, you know, I usually try to come down to see a part of the Dakar Cup competition. Usually catch maybe the finals and so forth. And I see real good talent that could be developed. But, you know, there has to be a system that is going to take these guys and, you know, like, make sure we take them and develop them the proper way.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question. Let me ask both of you a question. Who, in your mind, is the most successful youth football coach in Jamaica?
That's a good one.
And we're dealing purely on statistics.
Well, I think it was one of our guests, you know. I think we had Halliman. Leroy Halliman, was it? I think, maybe, because he has done...
That's your pick?
Yes, because I think he has done reasonably well.
Okay.
I can't recall.
Who else?
And what happened to that JC coach?
He's coaching abroad.
Yeah.
Well, look.
I think he had done well at too. But I can't recall anymore.
I didn't want to go there because he's my brother. But easily, Jackie Walters.
Jackie Walters.
Is the most successful youth coach in Jamaica. Yeah. No. But what does the JFF do? The JFF now decide to put him out to pasture. Same too old now. He can't coach.
I just look down of my mind.
Huh? What did the JFF do recently? They hired a guy as the director of football education who has no experience.
Interesting.
No experience at all. But because I'm cool with certain people on the JFF board, right? He wasn't the one who was the panel had ticked off as number one, you know. There was another guy
Okay.
they wanted as the person because he had the education background,
Right.
right? But no, they went with this guy who has no experience at coaching education.
Yes.
He doesn't have a history of coaching a winning team at any level.
That's a blatant mistake.
Okay, so you know these structural weaknesses
Yeah.
in the system, unless
Yeah,
you know
we have some work to do, and we got to fix these little gaps, as I call them, in the system. If we don't fix these gaps, then I don't see us advancing in any positive way, you know, in the near future. I don't know. I think because let's be frank, you know, since our first World Cup, that was the 98 when we went to World Cup.
98.
I don't know if we have I can't say we have progressed, you know.
No, we haven't.
Our football quality.
We have
I don't
not.
think we have progressed, you know. I'm saying so, you know, hesitantly, because I want to say I really want to say we have, but I can't see where we have.
We haven't.
And that is a bad mark.
Yes.
A bad mark, you know. But let me ask, the time winds down on us. I want your word on this. Our chances of qualifying for the next World Cup. The qualifying round will start soon. What do you think our chances are of coming through and going to the World Cup?
I don't know.
Frank.
I don't know. No. The reason being,
Yes.
until Tupper has settled on his squad, and we can see who is playing where and what have you.
Yeah.
So the Gold Cup
is going to be a testing ground.
Yes. After the Gold Cup, call me up. I can answer that question. But right now,
and I agree. I agree with you. Yeah. In fact, when they went, where was it? They went to was it Japan? They went to.
Yes.
They lost, and and people were upset that they lost. Was it 4? And I'm saying, don't be upset. I mean, for you to expect anything other than that you don't understand football. If they had come away with a draw, we could only be happy. The fact that they had lost, I didn't feel bad because Tapa was searching for and moving and trying to assess what he has in front of him.
But I wish I could be as positive as you.
No, I'm telling you, yeah, man. I know.
You know, we're talking about. Yeah, we're talking about an under 23 team, you know.
That has been training and preparing and training progressively.
Japan's under 23.
With resources.
I understand.
Over time.
But I understand, my brother.
Over time.
But,
so
you know.
Well, see, that's what I said last week. I said, I don't care what team we're using. We have a senior team playing against a Japanese Olympic team. We were supposed to beat that team. And that's why I said that even before we played Japan, that I'm scared, to be honest with you. And I'm glad that we're able to get some foreign-based players because I hope that there's going to be some positive to it. But I can't, I still believe that this is it for Theodore Whitmore. We have gotten, John said last week that a lot of reports coming out of Jamaica is that people are saying that if we don't get to the level that meet the expectation of most of the supporters in Jamaica, they're going to blame it on the JFF. But it's also on the technical ability of the coach and the coaching staff. I think that's where we're lacking right here.
Certainly.
Yes.
Yeah, man. Well, interesting times ahead in both track and field and the football, too, sport in general.
Yes, indeed.
We're winding down now. I don't know if Kenute, you want to say a few last words so we can thank our guests for a lively and most interesting
that we need to address from the audience?
Just
that we need to address.
no question or such, just good wishes and so on. No questions. Yeah, no questions.
Here's my last word. And if you don't
Okay,
mind,
okay.
I'm going back to track and field.
Go ahead.
My last word. And again on this
Richard Kitson-Walters.
Yes.
Dr. Richard Kitson-Walters.
Hold on, Kenny. Hold on.
It was a pleasure, man. And you know how great I feel to see you, even though I'm not seeing you. It's great to see you, man. And we look forward to seeing you again on this show.
Yes.
Thanks again.
Okay, my brother.
All right now.
Take care.
All right, take care. Thanks.
All right, John.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Give thanks. It was great.
Bless.